What is up, Jags fans? This is it, boys. We are on to week 6 against the Colts. Thank you so much for being here. This is a Friday night live show. Friday night live shows might be my favorite, and we'll get into that later. But before that, we have a bunch of film loaded up about the Colts. I know we've already played the Colts, but they've had a couple games since we've played them, and there's some new wrinkles to their offense. So we're going to take a look at what they've put on film the last 2 weeks and what it's going to take for the Jags to beat them. Before that, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. We do live shows every Tuesday and Friday night. We talk pretty much all Jags. The chat's very interactive. I like to get the Jags fans involved, so get into the chat. Tell me what you think. I get to most comments. If it's a good comment, just type it again. There's no pride around here, that's for sure. I always give a shout out to the first one in the chat. Predator is the first one in the chat 2 shows in a row. It's hard around here to be the first one in the chat. So you know what time we're going to start if you follow the Twitter or you follow the Instagram, because that's where I like to be, okay? I'm getting better at Instagram. Like, I learned there's 2 different inboxes. There's primary and general. No clue. So I learned that today. Appreciate everyone that's here today. We're going to get into some exciting film here about the Colts. This might be our best chance to win. So we'll see what happens. So I pretty much have it broken down into like how the Jags are going to win. Right? So I think there's like 3 things that the Jags are going to have to do. They're going to have to get pressure on Matt Ryan. I don't think the Colts O-line is very good. They're going to have to take what Gus Bradley gives them, and that probably going to play cover 2, even though Gus Bradley is a cover 1, cover 3 guy. I think after the success the Texans had in cover 2, I think you're going to see pretty much primarily cover 2 out of the Colts, which is not really what Gus Bradley typically does, but I think it's what he'll do after seeing the game plan. And the final thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to stop the Colts offense, which isn't much, but I think there's one guy that no one has talked about. I listen to local radio. I watch YouTube channels. One guy that no one has talked about that I think might be the key to us having to stop. I'm not going to spoil it yet. So thank you to everyone that's in the chat. Irish Jags fan says, let's go. Ben, I can't see that far. Ben Lost says, Duval. Philip Butcher, who's a channel member, he says, emoji here. So he's got an emojis because he can do that. He's a channel member. Tallahassee is also a channel member, and he says, let's go Duval. Philip Butcher and Tallahassee, thank you so much for being channel members. I appreciate that. Tallahassee says, I'm still happy with the season. I thought we'd be worse. I like the direction so far. All right. Malik Washington says, yo. Ben Lost says, but how in the fin yuck did we lose to the Texans? I know. Philip Butcher says, nothing but good vibes tonight. We on to the Colts. Well, let's get on to the Colts, okay? And again, I didn't really spoil it. I really do think the key to us winning is going to be whether or not we can get pressure on Matt Ryan. Now, I don't think the Colts are very good on the offensive line. My picture is way too big. Here, let me straighten. You guys don't need to see this much of me. Sorry. What happens is I stream on Twitch. It's Jags_United. If you're into that type of thing, I stream on Twitch. I've been doing it more recently than I had in the past. And then when I stream on Twitch, I have to change my computer settings. And so it changes the size of everything. So forgive me for having my big head right here in the middle of the frame. All right, so we're going to have to get pressure. There's no doubt about that. Now, Bradley Chubb had a pretty decent game. Now, this game was so boring to watch. Like, if you guys will give me credit for anything, give me credit for sitting here and watching the freaking Broncos-Colts game. That was so boring. I could not believe how bored I was. Like, the way that it ended was just a horrible game overall. But I watched it. And up here, like, listen, I think you're going to see the Jags do this a lot. All right. So the Broncos are what's called an underfront. Okay. So an underfront is when your nose tackle right here is lined up on the inside shade of the same side of the strength. So here in this situation, the strength is to the field, right, with the tight end. So typically you look at where the tight end is or where the field is. In this situation, the tight end and the field are both to the defense's right. Okay. So when you line up your nose tackle in the right shade of the center, this is what's called an underfront. Okay. So this is what they're in. It basically changes basically where the gap's going to be. So ideally, like the guard can reach here and the center can reach here. So this gap being open on like a draw or an inside zone is what's different versus an over front, where an over front it might be this gap. So seems like it's minuscule, but it's actually a big deal. So they're in an under front here, and watch how they're going to bring Bradley Chubb late. Okay, so let's watch this. All right, so Bradley Chubb comes from like outside of your screen, but that's what basically makes the play happen. So they got 4 lined up. The Jags do this a lot. They line up 2 big guys. Now, whether it's Gotsis or Hamilton or if Fatu Kasi plays, they do this a lot where they bring the big boys up the middle, and then they have 2 edge rushers, and then they have an outside linebacker. So it's really like a 5. It's kind of like 5 guys rushing the pass for each play. So they're going to do that here. They're going to bring Bradley Chubb from outside, and they're just going to have no answer for it, and he's going to get pressure. Now, I have a lot of plays queued up for the Colts offensive line being subpar, so I can't spend a lot of time on these, but that's essentially what's happening here is the nose tackle is creating the gap, and like I said, look at how he's in the under front, okay? If you guess under front and it's a pass play, that's a win for the defensive coordinator, all right? He guessed, he got in there, brought the blitz from the same side. Got him. Let's go. Love to see it. Love to see it. Let's see here. Noah Nooner says, with Shaq Leonard out again, I only want Trevor to throw checkdowns. I keep watching 3 and outs and turnovers. Take the easy completions, Trevor. Yeah, for sure. I mean, we have clips loaded up of the Jags when they played the Colts last time, and actually the success they had was because Trevor did that exact thing that you're talking about. T-Dub says Twitch is an interesting time. Interesting is a good word. Ben Lost says, preach, brother Noah, preach. All right. Eddie says, will they win? Yes, they will win. They will definitely win. I think we are much better than the Colts. I mean, the Titans played terrible against the Colts, and they still won. The Broncos played horrible and still had a chance to win and should have won. So, yeah, I think we do. Thriller King says, I made it. Let's go. You did make it. You made it just in time for the second play here. Now, there's the next play I have lined up. And this is, let me take you back. Take you back to the beginning. I'm not going to spend too much time again. I have a lot of clips ready here. And so here's the big issue for the Colts right now. They have a left tackle issue, all right? So they have Pryor, who's been hurt, and if he plays, he's been bad. In this, against the Broncos, they played Bernhard Raymond. Okay, now Bernhard Raymond is not good. Okay, he's not good. And now, relative to me, he's amazing. Relative to your average left tackle, he's not good. So let's just clear that up right off the bat. Okay, so he actually got called for holding twice in this game because he just literally couldn't. One time probably wasn't a hold, but this time was definitely a hold. Okay, so watch him here. Like, we're gonna have to exploit this. I mean, he tackles the guy. I mean, probably by the face mask. Like, that is, he did this a lot. He got beat with speed to the outside, and he held a lot of people. He actually didn't get called for it a lot, but he did get called for it twice, which is a lot, but could have got called for it more. Like, he did this over and over and over again. He got called for it again here on this play, same guy. I don't think it was a holding. Maybe it was a sell job by the edge rusher. But listen, if you're the Jags and Raymond is playing, again, I don't know if Raymond or Pryor is going to play. I think Pryor was questionable. But even on like the Colts subreddit, I was perusing, like they are not very hyped about Pryor. Okay, so Raymond is bad right here. Maybe that is a good block. Maybe I'll give him credit for that. But he did get called for holding. So say what you want. Maybe they miscalled it. Maybe they should have called it on this guard right here. Maybe that's what happened. But I don't know. Exploit that. I mean, Josh Allen with speed should be able to get a couple holding calls here, all right? So when we go back and we review the film on Tuesday, we're going to talk about all the holding calls the Colts had, and I'm going to say, remember we were talking about on the Friday night show about all the hold calls, and you guys are going to be like, oh, yeah, I remember that. Eddie says Russ sells. I'm so sick of the young generation using the word sells. Like, come on. Like, that's, if you don't know, like all the kids are saying sells for, like, throwing, right? We used to say throwing the game, sabotaging the game. The young kids are saying sells. Makes no sense to me. T-Dub, I feel that with the Colts having such a bad O-line, the Jags need to watch the short checkdowns or drags. Oh, wow. T-Dub, I did not expect that level of breakdown knowledge from you. Nice job. Raiden Shogum says hello. Raiden has a nice Twitch channel. I always like to plug Pokey, because Pokey's been here since the beginning. Pokey has been one of the original commenters. pops in. I love it. Love it. Let's move this over here. Look at this. I can do this live, boys. All right. More on the Colts offensive line. Let's see what we have queued up here next. Another situation where the Colts are just confused. Like, they don't know what's happening here, right? So, I mean, this isn't like an all-world linebacker. This is Josie Jewell, number 47, right? And I like this formation here. I like when they have, like, this is a very Mike Caldwell-esque. This is why I clipped this play, because you have two edge rushers in what's called the 9 technique. So if you don't know by now, we've been watching film for a while together. The 9 technique is on like the outside as if they were a tight end. So if they were a tight end lined up here, outside shoulder, that's what we call the 9 tech. You've probably heard of the wide 9. Okay, the wide 9 is a formation where you have 2 guys at the 9 tech position. So in this situation, they do have 2 guys at the 9 tech. So you could call this a wide 9. Now, what else makes it wide? Okay, you have another defensive tackle. He's probably a speed guy. He's lined up on the inside shoulder of the tackle here on the field side. And you have another guy lined up head up or inside shoulder on the tackle to the boundary side. This is where it gets confusing. The boundary in this situation is the same side as a stand-up tight end right here, Mo Alley Cox. This is why when people start talking about like, oh, he's going to play the strong side edge and the weak side edge, throw it out the window. It does not matter. Coaches do whatever they want because in this situation, the strength is probably the field, but the strength is lined up to the boundary. I digress. I love this formation. They have a linebacker, Josie Jewell, lined up, walked up in the A gap. So they're obviously not expecting a run. This is an obvious passing down. So watch him blitzing from the middle. The little stunt move there, like all he did was a little delayed rush to the B gap where it was supposed to be. Ended up being the C gap and gets pressure. Again, just not a great job. I mean, Bradley Chubb just absolutely whoops the right tackle there too. Just not great blocking from the Colts offensive line. This is going to have to, I mean, this is the key. Listen, I've been a Jags fan my whole life. I'm not saying a bad word about the Colts because I've been a Jags fan that's been complaining about the Jags offensive line my entire life. You guys know, if you watch this channel any amount of time, I'm all about the trenches, D-line, O-line. That's where you win. Okay, you got to beef up. You can't be good at the skill positions and bad at the offensive line. Like some teams try to do that. It doesn't work, right? And I understand injuries happen, but I think you have to backload yourself so much that you are never bad on the offensive line. Look what the Jags have done, right? Ben Barch out for the year, dislocated knee. That was probably one of the most painful injuries a football player can like sustain, and it didn't even seem like it. Like Barch, like didn't he like walk off the field? That gave me so much respect for Barch was that happening. But you plug in Tyler Shatley because we have depth at the offensive line, finally, for once. Now, it's thinning now with a season-long injury. I like the guard they brought in. Hopefully, he adds some depth. But Peterson gets it. Balky gets it. You got to build from the O-line. Ben Law says Walker might wake up a sack or two. Tito says insult. Oh, Raiden says love you too. Thank you, Pokey. Philip Butcher, RD has been a pleasant surprise. They are playing elite. Ryan doesn't stand a chance, in my opinion. All right, Philip, we're going to get to the Colts offense soon, so don't go anywhere. Again, they have a secret player now, okay? No, like they have a little secret player. They do. And he's been beating people the last couple of weeks, and I haven't heard a single word about him. Fat Boy Shot says, dang, I'm always late. But Fat Boy, you made it in time because I feel like this Friday night show is actually going to go a little bit longer than usual because I have a lot of clips loaded up. So you're in for a good show. Sea Breacher says better late than never. Okay, so there's always, if you're new, there's always the crew that comes in late because typically we start at 9 p.m. and tonight I start at 8 p.m. So there's going to be the late crew, and so I think that's where we're going to end up going. My ring notifications on my phone are going bonkers. Okay, all right, next play. Let's load it up. All right. So here they tried to double team Chubb with 2 skill position players. Like, again, this goes back to what I was saying. Like, you can't do that. Like, look to your right of your screen. There's not much to dissect here. But, like, if the Jags try to do this to Josh Allen, or I'm sorry, if the Colts try to do this to Josh Allen, he has to get pressure. I mean, you're going to put a running back and a tight end and, like, your backup tight end. Is that Jelani Woods, the rookie? You put a rookie in a second string running back on against your best edge rusher. That's just poor coaching. I mean, that's when you look back and you're like, like, dang, how did we force a fumble? Because they forced the fumble. Luckily, for the Colts, they recovered it. But the coaching staff's got to know you can't put two of your worst blockers on the field against the best pass rusher on a passing down. Like, that's just poor game plan, poor execution, and poor calling. And typically I don't like to talk bad about coaches, but I do think the Colts were built to win on defense. You got Gus Bradley. You have John Fox. A lot of people don't know that. John Fox, the ex-Panthers coach, is one of their defensive assistants. So they definitely are building around the defense. That being said, their head coach, Frank Reich, is an offensive coach. Marcus Brady, their offensive coordinator, is supposed to be a good play caller if he's calling plays. And then Kevin Maiwai, the ex-Jets offensive lineman, you guys may remember him, is their O-line coach. So they have a lot of money invested into their offense and not working out. All right, so this is actually going to be against the Titans. Okay, so we did some Titans here, and this is another forced fumble, and this is coming from Danico Autry. Danico Autry, feasted. That's why I was thinking, and sorry for the poor quality, I didn't realize that if the Colts played at 1 p.m. and the sun was just right, you can't see half the field because of the dome. But Danico Autry is going to come here again. This is another one of those wide 9 formations that seem to just absolutely work against the Colts. That's why I'm thinking that you're going to see this. Look how spaced out these tackles are, and they're just giving them this gap here. So this is an obvious passing down. Obvious passing down, just whoops. I don't know if that's Quentin Nelson. I can't tell. It looks like it's not Quentin Nelson. Looks like a backup was in for him, but just absolutely gets whooped there. I can't tell. It looks like 66. But it looks like Quentin Nelson, so I'm very confused. Timmy Devil 999 says, "I'm late. Damn it, Timmy. I was saying this is gonna be a longer show. This show might get a little too long, if you know what I mean. So you're not too late." Patrick Long says, "Go Jags. This is a must-win in a place we have struggled in for a while now. I want Trevor to dominate and shut up all the doubt, including my own." Woo-hoo. That story had a twist there, Patrick. Raiden says, "Feeling Lloyd might get a few sacks." Yeah, I hope so. Lloyd's been really, really good. Eddie says Trayvon needs to improve. He's a rookie. Relax, Eddie. He's a rookie. He's played 5 NFL games. You can't even justify anything. It's 5 games. T-Dub, although I feel that the short play will be a threat, but with Pittman's speed and ability to catch, he will be a threat. Pittman's been hurt all year, and he hasn't really been that good. Last week, I was looking at their stats. It was in the Colts-Broncos game, Pittman only had 5 receptions for 59 yards. In the Colts-Titans game, I don't think he even played. Or if he did, he didn't even get more than 4 catches. So Pittman's kind of taking a step back this year. And I wasn't big on Pittman when they drafted him. I was surprised last year that I was wrong, and now it's looking like that I was originally right. So we'll see what happens. I'm not saying Pittman's bad. I just think he might have gotten overhyped. All right, we got a couple more plays. Let's look at a play from the Jags game. All right, so this is a play from the Jags game. Josh Allen just had a great day against the Colts. This was just a great stunt. This was just Mike Caldwell being Mike Caldwell. Look how he's going to bring Josh Allen from here all the way around. And, look at this. The offensive line should have known. When you see 2 defensive linemen lined up head up, and look at this. This is not a formation you see very often. Think back. How many times have you seen an edge rusher here, an end here, a tackle here, and another edge rusher here? They should have known that somebody was stunting. You're not going to – I don't know. I would have known. I would have like to think I'd know. Great stunt. Gets the sack here. Another one Josh Allen gets. He's just going to rush from your right and just going to beat the left tackle. Now, that might have been prior. I don't know. Their left tackles are horrible. The offensive line is horrible. The Colts offensive line is one of the worst offensive lines in the league. Not great. Josh Allen had a great day. This is another one from the Jags. This was, just pressure from Trevon Walker. It's good to see. All right, this one is from the Titans. All right, let's take a look here. I can't remember what happens on this play. Oh, this is a forced fumble on Braden Smith. Okay, that's right. Okay, so Braden Smith is their right tackle. Again, another guy I'm not impressed with. Like, this stance, I don't know. I mean, this is a very narrow stance right here. I mean, I mean, this is why the offensive line watches the end zone film. I mean, because look at the stances here. Good stance, good stance, good stance. I'm talking pre-snap. Look at this. This thing's tiny. It's tiny. Like, you're obviously like, okay, I'm kicking out. All right. So he obviously, that's his gonna be his first step, and he still can't do it. Oh, he gets beat on the inside. That's what he gets for showing that. He just gets bull rushed. This is why I clipped this, because Travon Walker's like only move and best move is the bull rush. And if he can bull rush here, Braden Smith can't stop this. I think and this is another forced fumble. I mean, the stats for the Colts were just abysmal in this game. Absolutely abysmal. I mean, in every game. Their offense is just not good. Not good at all. Philip Butcher says, our injuries are piling up. Are you worried yet? New names on it today. Yeah, so there are new names. We talked about some of the injury reports that have come up, a lot of new names, but I think the only guy that's like risking of not playing is Fatukasi. I think everyone else will play, even Zay Jones. I think he got any more injured than last week, so no, not worried yet. Moon Illusions is spoiling my surprise. He said Alec Pierce has been playing well. Moon Illusions, that is how you come in here, and I was trying to tease Alec Pierce, okay? I was trying to tease him. Sorry if I missed some of your comments here. That's their rookie tight end, Kyle Granson, blocking Chubb. Wow. Okay, so it wasn't even Jelani Woods. So they have 2 rookie tight ends there. Moon Illusions also says, I see we've got a bunch of players on the injury report, but I think one of the beat reporters said they should all be available. Okay. Timmy Devil 999 says, our defense is way better than people are willing to claim. I love our defense. We're not always flashy, but we get the job done. Here's what bothered me about the defense is last week they played so good all game. They did everything they needed to do all game except the one drive they needed it. The one drive they needed to get a stop. They could not get off the field. Travon Walker had that horrible penalty. We had like 10 missed tackles on that one drive. Like, we just needed that one drive, and the defense couldn't. It happens. It's football. You know, you look back at like a team like the Bills who were really good last year, and look what they did against us. Those games happen, right? So I think we got to move on and see what happens. T-Dubs is in the case where people need to get open fast. I feel he will do it. Philip, talking about Michael Pittman. Philip Butcher, most of them are getting injured during practice. Travon has been outstanding. I understand we want the flashy sacks, but he's been stellar. Yeah, that's true. All right, this is let's move on to the next thing that I think is going to be important for us. So we know that the O-line is going to be suspect. The next thing we're going to have to do, and I say this every week, and it's getting like a broken record, is we're going to have to execute. Okay, we're going to have to execute. We did not execute last week. We did not execute against the Eagles. Like, we are going to have to execute this week if we are going to win. All right, so here we see the Broncos. This is their Thursday night game that was just absolutely horrible. All right, but here's why I clipped it. So I think the Colts will be Gus Bradley and the Colts will be in cover 2 the whole game. So there's different types of cover 2, but essentially, for those of you that just need a little reminder, is you're gonna have 2 safeties back here covering, and then these linebackers are either gonna play hard corners here, or what we call the flats, or they're going to bail and play a little softer, and these safeties are going to be able to play a little more of the middle of the field. So those are the 2 different types of cover 2, and essentially your linebackers are going to fan out, not that far because there's a nickel corner, just going to fan out and cover middle of the field. Okay, so pre-snap, the Colts are trying to make it look like they're in one high safety. Like Russell Wilson, you see one high here, so you might be, and they're pressed. So you might be thinking, okay, they're in cover 1, where they're in man across the board with one high safety and everyone's in man. But it's not enough to fool Russell because this dude's going to bail last minute to cover 2. And then, like, if you look at it, I mean, it's pretty obvious. I mean, he's in an awkward spot, and he's clearly on the left hash. So this is obviously going to be cover 2 pre-snap. You can't fool a guy like Russell Wilson with this. See, pre-snap, he's going to sneak, and he's going to bail, okay? So now they're in cover 2. See this? 1, 2. Look how deep he is. He's got the hard flats. He didn't bail in time. And look at the window. The window was here on the slant. So the Jags went for slants, just weren't able to complete them, middle of the field, things like this. But this was it. I mean, if he stays on his feet, he's going for probably 15 yards right here, at least. So that's what Trevor's got to be able to see. He's got to be able to see the pre-snap look of one high safety, although this is pretty poor pre-snap disguise. He's got to be able to hit the middle of the field. In this situation, it's the slant because of how compact the linebacker was lined up and the nickel corner obviously playing press man for some reason. Like, if he would have bailed, it could have been an interception. That's probably what he was supposed to do in this situation, but he didn't. He pressed, then got beat. So this is probably on the nickel corner. Yeah. Russ read it, though. Got to give Russ credit for that. Read that like a book. All right, this next play. This is another play where, and this is why I clipped this, because I think the Jags are going to run the ball a lot. Hopefully they run the ball a lot. And when they do, they're going to have to set up play action, right? So we've done a lot of play action, but Trevor's always trying to throw it like at this levels concept, at this like 5, 10, or 15-yard interval, right? That's what Doug Peterson loves to run, is, some variation of like, this levels concept on a PA boot. But what Russell does here is he calls play action. He surveys down the field, okay? Nothing's open. Now, maybe he's going to get open here. He's covered. And so Russell does a good job of, like you guys said in the comments, taking what the defense gives him and checking it down to the running back. I mean, look at all this space. See, the problem is Trevor's trying to, like, hit this, or he's trying to hit this. Is probably actually more the throw that Trevor likes to make, is this, like, impossible throw. But check it down. This was the biggest play the Broncos had on this drive, just because he checked it down to the running back. So that's something that I hope Trevor does. I mean, it's going to be the key is him doing that. I love the fact that Trevor tries to throw the downfield throw, like the window that he knows that only him and a handful of people on planet Earth can even make the throw. But I'd like to start seeing him take the checkdowns. Moon Illusion says, yo, Zach is Wax says, what up, fellas? Moon Illusion says, speaking of Jelani Woods, where is he at? I haven't even heard of him since the draft. I mean, he actually gets snaps. I didn't look at the number of actual snaps, but he does get snaps. Noah Nooner says, Evan Ingram gets his first touchdown as a Jag on Sunday. I can feel it. I hope he does. I think he led the team in receptions when we beat the Colts. T-Dub27 says, I feel with the Jags, they have good players and coaches, but have a hard time doing the job during the play. T-Dub, you're impressing me tonight. You really are. T-Dub is bringing some heat in the comments. I like it. You're right. I think they're young, and I think that factors into it. They have veterans on the team, but there's a lot of youth in that starting 22. Predator says, do you guys think we utilize our run game more in this game? I know Doug likes to throw to set up the run. I just feel like we can dominate early time of possession through ETN and J-Rob. So last game the Colts lost was against the Titans, and Derrick Henry had 22 carries for 114 yards and a touchdown. And to go with that, he had 3 receptions for 33 yards. So that's 11 yards per. 22 carries for Derrick Henry. Now, I've given up trying to compare what other teams do in the run game versus the Jags, because I watched the Eagles between Miles Sanders and Jalen Hurts run the ball like 40-something times, and the Jags ran it like 20 times that game. So I'm done comparing, but if we are going to compare to what worked, the Titans ran the ball 22 times with their runners. I think between Etienne and Robinson, you give them both 11 carries, you might be okay. I don't know. That's a slippery slope. Haas all says, what's good, boys? What's good, Haas? Predator says, I agree with Timmy Devil. Feed J-Rob and good things happen. Get J-Rob going. We go as he goes. Don't turn into Urban Meyer. So I will say, though, like last game, Etienne was the hot hand, not J-Rob. So if Etienne's the one that's going, like I wanted Etienne to get more carries. All right, this play here is again, talking about how what the Jags are going to have to do to win against the Colts defense is this is a sack from Yannick. I mean, Yannick did have a sack and a half. I know we don't like to see him do well, but you're going to see him kind of get one of these cheese sacks that Yannick is known for. Basically, he's going to be lined up here. And again, we learned this by now. It's called the 9 technique, right? Outside of the tight end. And he's going to be lined up here. And basically, he's going to just do a stutter rush and then just kind of loop back in and clean up sack. Not that impressive, just kind of right place at the right time, but something to be said for that. Pretty lazy pass rush, honestly, if you ask me. Like, if you look at his whole body of work on this play, he gets chipped by the tight end and basically gives up on the play, which is Yannick's MO. I mean, that's why he didn't get re-signed, was because he gives up. He gives up, but at least he anticipates Russ scrambling, so you got to give him credit for that, and then gets the sack there. So we'll give him a little bit of credit, but not too much credit. All right, let's see here. This next one is okay. This is just clips I thought were noteworthy of the Colts defense. Last play of the game, Colts decided to go for it. And listen, Nate Hackett got a lot of hate for running the ball, in early weeks instead of letting Russell throw. And then in the next game, Nate Hackett got in trouble for trying to kick the field goal instead of letting Russ throw. So this game, he said, all right, game's on the line. Our quarterback, who's being paid a lot of money, we're going to put it on him. All right, we're going to put it on him. That's what you guys want to see. Obviously, you guys think he's better than me, and Nate Hackett put it in Russell Wilson's hand at the end of the game. Listen, this is your simple pick play concept. This was a good play design. So what this play design is, listen, if you get a man call, right? So he lines up a tight end here. He goes in 10 personnel. 10 personnel is 1 quarterback, 1 running back. I'm sorry, this is not 10 personnel. This is 11 personnel because you have 1 tight end and 1 running back. All right, and we read left to right like a book, so we call this 1 by 2. Okay, so you have 1 over here and 1, 2 over here, which actually when you're defensive back, you call this guy 2 and this guy 1, but that's whatever. Okay, so they're in basically 11 personnel, 1 by 2. They get man coverage. They get the look they wanted. They're in man. So basically what this 2 receiver is going to do is he's just going to run a dummy route just here, just for the sake and purpose of these 2 guys that are in man coverage running through the defender on the outside. So the play was actually designed to hit this receiver on a slant. Good play call by Nate Hackett. And you see right here, ran to perfection. Look at this. He's running his little out route, his little pick route right here, and he's going to eat up both of these guys, and the underneath is going to be wide open. I mean, this play was called to hit here, and Russell just doesn't see it. Doesn't see it. Like, I think I might be able to make this throw. And I am 33 years old. You can beat them. You can beat them. Good, and that's why, like Doug Peterson, he has good play calls. Like it works. Stuff he does works. So I like Doug Peterson. All right. So here you're just gonna see Derrick Henry be Derrick Henry, but this is just a horrible tackle here. All right, just a horrible tackle. Oh, this isn't Derrick Henry. I'm sorry. Wrong play. This is a play action to Robert Woods. Okay, so you're going to see Robert Woods here line up in the slot. Okay, they're going to pre-snap motion a tight end here to be like a little H-back lead blocker. This kind of tells the Colts that they might be a run play, right? Because when you get this lead blocker, now you have a potential for a 3v3, and that gives you space to run. So the Colts are probably thinking run here. This is why you have to get ahead of the sticks, because when you get ahead of the sticks, you can do stuff like this. Okay, play action to Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's been killing them all game. And look where the linebackers are at. We're going to pause it. Look where the linebackers are at. Backfield, out of position. In the gap, out of position. He might be in still good position because he may be manned up here, okay? But the linebackers are out of position. So Robert Woods is going to be just absolutely wide open. Moral of the story, the Colts linebackers get out of position. I mean, again, no one even around him. This is 2 plays in a row now we've seen where the Colts defense is nowhere near the receiver on the play design. So as long as Doug Peterson calls the right plays, we're good. We're good. I think we will be. Philip Butcher, channel member, says, Philip Butcher says, I really can see through the mistakes. It hurts still, but I have to say I'm not worried at all. The schemes, the D, I mean, haven't seen this in a long time or ever. Give it time. we will be great. See, Philip, I think I'm with you there because, again, the schemes and the play calls from Doug Peterson are better than I've seen probably ever here in Jacksonville. And I'm thinking back to, like, Tom Coughlin days. Moon Illusion says, yeah, Hamler was infuriated after the play. Yeah. Oh, yeah, because Hamler's wide open. Hamler's wide open. Timmy Devil says, if we lose, the season is over. However, we're not going to lose. All right, here's another one again. Sorry about the film quality. This is just what you get when you get the Colts home games here. All right, so we're talking about the Colts defense and what we're going to have to do to beat the Colts defense. And so in order to beat the Colts defense, we're going to have to run the ball. And we've said this in the chat a bunch, but, I mean, they just can't stop the run. They couldn't stop us. This is just absolutely horrible tackling. Brandon Faison, who I think is actually a decent cover corner, but doesn't even – I mean, maybe he slips on his own home turf. I mean, get some turf shoes. Like, not great. Henry scores an easy touchdown. I mean, this isn't Derrick Henry being amazing. This is Derrick Henry just literally running in a straight line. So this is just not a great play call. Again, the linebackers look at the angle and gaps that these linebackers try to fill. So both of these guys are going to try to fill like an inside run when one of you has to have outside contain. I mean, maybe Faison had outside contain, but you don't want to corner. I don't know. I wouldn't call that, Gus. Yeah, just not good overall. Not good overall. All right, here the Titans passing, right? So here we have a pretty cool route here, right? One of my favorite routes is what's called the zig route. And basically what that is you make them think you're running a slant, and then you open it up to an out. Like, think of Wes Welker. He ran that pretty successfully with the Patriots for a number of years. So here the Titans and Vrabel are going to run a reverse zig, right? And so they're going to actually have their tight end. This is a Kwanu. I'm sorry, a Kwanu. He's going to act like he's running out then in, okay? I think that's what he did. Out then in. Yeah. So basically a zig, but kind of a lazy zig, and just took what the defense gave him. Like, notice here, like, Tannehill had options, okay? If you can't see very well, he's got a receiver here. He's got a receiver here. He's got a receiver here, one here, and one here. Now, the problem is that Trevor has been trying to hit these, like, impossible throws, which, again, I respect. But the throw is right here. This is the throw. I mean, just take what the defense gives you. The Colts want you to make the hard throw. Throw the easy throw. Throw it underneath, catch the ball, get in the end zone. Great job there, Kwanu. Great job. Shay, channel member. Shay, oh, it's always good to see Shay. Shay says, Jason, I almost missed another live stream. This seems like an important game for Frank Reich's future, also big for the Jaguars season. So I think you're right. It is big for Frank Reich as a coach, but I actually, like, he's had a lot of injuries on the offensive line, man. I kind of went on a rant earlier about how I think offensive line is one of the most important positions, and the injuries and the swaps he's had to do, and the underperformance, honestly. I mean, Quentin Nelson is a guy that I would have taken Quentin Nelson over any guard in the league, and I don't know if I feel that way anymore. So it's been an up and down season for the offensive line. Gus Bradley is probably Gus Bradley has to have dogs on his defense for his defense to work, because it's the cover 2, cover 1, keep everything in front of you and make a play. And if you don't have a dog on your defense, then it doesn't matter. Volkfang says, what's up, Jason? What's up, Jags fan? What's up, Volkfang? Glad you're here, man. Channel member. We got a bunch of channel members in here tonight. I love it. Moon Legend says, that was a really slow zig. Yeah, that was a zig. Yeah, really slow. All right, let's take a look at this play. Yeah, this is just bad blocking, right? This is the Adigbo, whatever his name is, the defensive end. Again, I mean, we've watched the Titans offense. This is in the wrong. Yeah, so this is a good play from the Colts. We had a lot of bad plays. This is a good play from the Colts. All right, so bad Bad blocking, bad play design, but they have the ability to get upfield. I don't know why I have that in here. All right, here's the Jags, what they did. Yeah, so we just have to replicate this. James Robinson hitting the gap, get upfield. You guys have said it. Feed James Robinson. It's not a secret. If it's not Robinson, he's been kind of off last couple weeks. Feed ETN. Like, feed somebody. Like, get the carries up. Evan Ingram does a great job. Beat him with this trickery. Remember this play? This is the play where Christian Kirk runs the Texas route. They scored on. He lined up in the backfield with J. Rob. He's running a little Texas route. He's going to be wide open. They're going to run, I think it's Ingram or Zay Jones is going to clear out with a slant. And then Kirk's Texas route is going to be wide open. Yeah, Ingram. Wide open. Get in there. Take what the defense gives you. Don't overcomplicate it. Set up the run so you can do play action. This is a play action play. T-Law had to get outside, but this throw, I mean, we started talking about Trevor as being like, no one, I know words are being thrown around, like Trevor being a bust and maybe him sitting, but no actual football fan that knows anything said that. You got to remind yourself of these types of plays right here. I mean, there's not a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL that are making this play right here as a throw. There are also not a lot of quarterbacks that are making this play right here with his speed. And not a lot of quarterbacks making this play right here. Again, all against the Colts on play action on the run, rolling out to his left. I mean, these are all plays that we watched last night's game with the Bears and the Commanders, and it's horrible. Horrible. Neither team had a quarterback. Neither team could do anything. What changes do you think the Colts will make, if any, from the last time we played earlier this season? I imagine they'll pass way more than they did last time since they've got Pittman and Pierce back. I think if you see any differences, I think you're going to see it on their defense. And I know Gus Bradley's a guy that likes to run his system, but I think the cover 2 working so effectively against the Jags is going to come back and haunt them as far as game plan. I think you're going to see the Colts and Gus Bradley just run cover 2 all game. We showed that first play that the Titans ran it against the Broncos. I'm sorry, the Colts ran against the Broncos, came out, disguised it as one high, and then rolled into cover 2. I would do that. If I'm a D coordinator, I would not get out of cover 2 until the Jags scored a touchdown. Then maybe we'll go back to our thing. There'll be more balanced offense this time, says Moon. Well, I mean, I think Taylor playing is going to be a big deal if Jonathan Taylor plays. Timmy Devil 999 says Trevor needs to get it together. Trust the game plan. Take the check down. Use your legs to keep the D honest if that play breaks down. He's still young, though. Give him some time. He's still young. The Bears game was the most boring game. I disagree because the Colts Broncos game was horrible. I think I saw something on Instagram where Thursday Night Football has had 40 straight drives without a touchdown. 40. Yeah. All right, the next thing we're going to have to do if we're going to win is we are going to have to stop the Colts offense. Now, we don't know who's playing because they're like all over the place, and I don't know, injury report is like a mile long. But here's what they can do at times. We have to respect them a tad, right? We're not going to just throw the baby out with the bathwater. This is the biggest play of the game for the Colts in this game. We just talked about how bad the game was. This was the biggest play of the game, right? So they're just basically going to run it out and just throw an out to their tight ends and get upfield. I know, sad and pathetic. This was the biggest play of the game. And all it was just a quick release to the out, one missed tackle. I mean, the receiver doesn't even block. The receiver doesn't even block upfield. Like, if I was a coach, I mean, maybe he's like just not trying to take a cheap penalty. But man, I remember the days when receivers were like had to block. I mean, he does nothing here. Nothing. That's sad. And Moon Illusions already spoiled my Alec Pierce narrative, but Alec Pierce has been going off. Against the Titans, he had 4 receptions for 80 yards. Against the Broncos, he had 8 receptions for 80 yards. I mean, he's been their best offensive player the last 2 weeks. So Alec Pierce is going to be the game changer, in my opinion, I think. Can we cover? I mean, it used to be Michael Pittman, but now it's Alec Pierce. It just is. This is a play to Paris Campbell which is just too much time in the pocket. I mean, if you give him this much time in the pocket, he's going to find a receiver in the middle of the field. Now, this is just a basic concept here, right? So for those of you that like love passing concepts the way I do, this is what we call a bench concept, right? Because it looks like you're sitting on a bench here. Let's draw a person sitting down. Maybe they're eating a sandwich, right? A bench concept when you have an out with a vertical. And then on the backside, you're just going to have a deep end and a slant, okay? Pretty simple. If you give him enough time, he's going to find someone open. Way too long in the pocket. So, gonna have to get pressure. You can't sit back and think that we're not going to be able to get pressure on them. Mo Alley Cox had a great couple weeks, right? Alec Pierce and Mo Alley Cox, I think, are going to have to be the two guys we're going to have to stop. You can see here how they just kind of sneak him out of the backfield on that late crosser. Then they actually do it again here, right? So they're actually going to do, watch him, it's sneaky. They're going to get Mo Alley Cox right here, lined up on the line of scrimmage. They're just going to sneak him out. They're going to clear out everything else, and, you know, he's the guy you got to watch. That's sneaky right there. Got in the end zone. That's easy. It's all day right there. All day. T-Dub says, people who say Trevor needs to be benched or that he is not good, those people don't see that Trevor does not have the best team around him. Timmy Devil says, but he doesn't have nearly the worst team either. We lost to a guy who almost lost to the Bears. Brian Foster says, let's go Jags. Okay, look, I'm there. I'm there for it. All right, what else can the Texans do? So, again, I'm worried about the jump ball. That's my number one concern for our defense more than anything. I think that's where we're the weakest. Let's see here. They had an Alec Pierce jump ball. Let's see if I can find it. Was it... Oh, here it is. So this is what I'm worried about, okay? I'm worried about this. Alec Pierce can go up and get the ball now. I mean, he's got great hand-eye coordination. You can't teach that. This is just a three-step drop, throw it up. I mean, this isn't even a great throw. This is just a great catch. Catches like on the back of the defender. I think he got a pass interference call here too. I can't remember. But why it scares me is because we've seen them do this against the Jags. Like, they literally did this against the Jags, like the exact same thing. Didn't complete it, but you can tell it's like that's what they want to do, right? And I think they're going to try to use that, and that's where I'm the most concerned. I think we'll be okay, but final play. I want you guys just to keep your eye on number 52, okay? This play had no category. This was in the fun folder, okay? Keep your eye on 52. Sheds the block. Strips the ball out. What? Watch him. Watch him. He gets in there. He's onto some shenanigans. Strips the ball out. Look at 52. You know what 52 is, boys? That is your boy, Joe Schobert, coming in and stripping the ball. All right, so get you a linebacker, Devin Lloyd. If a Lucan plays, get him in there and strip the ball. Get your hand in there the way Joe Schobert did. I bet you guys didn't expect to see a Joe Schobert sighting on this show, did you? Get him, Joe. Turnover. Titans ball. Let's go. Tighten up. Can I say that? I don't know. I can even say tighten up. Let's see here. Moon Illusion says Pierce is a jump ball specialist. It could be bad for Tyson. Again, that's where I'm worried. That's where I'm worried. Shay says shutting down Jonathan Taylor twice in 1 year is going to be tough, especially with the injuries to the front seven. But here's the thing, is Jonathan Taylor hasn't had an incredibly good season. He really hasn't. You look back at the Titans game, he had 20 carries for 42 yards. That's 2.1 yards per carry. And I know Vrabel is a defensive guy, but I don't necessarily look at their roster and think that it's that much better than ours. So if they can hold Taylor to 2.1 per and no touchdowns, I think we can too. In that game against the Broncos, you had Deion Jackson with 13 carries, Phillip Lindsay with 11 carries. So not too worried about the running game. Even with Jonathan, I know Jonathan Taylor, and I know it's backwards. Jonathan Taylor's a great back, but he's done nothing this year. Eddie says, don't worry, Jason. Tyson will shut them down. I hope it doesn't get shut down like your debate speeches get shut down. Volkfang, young quarterbacks make mistakes. Trevor didn't have the coaching last year to help him fix those mistakes. All right, that's fair. Volk, that's fair. And I'll take that. I'll take that. I, for one, am not worried about Trevor at all. I told you guys on the last show, I'm giving him a full another year. They were talking about Josh Allen on the radio, and it wasn't until year 3 that he even began to do anything like that. So you gotta give him credit for that. Like, give him some time. I mean, not credit. Moon Illusion says time is a flat circle. I mean, don't get philosophical on me, okay? I can go toe for toe on philosophy, all right? Don't even get me going, all right? I invented my own branch of philosophy. That's how deep I can get. It's based on Sun Tzu's Art of War and how all philosophy should be based around that. Yeah, Moon Illusions, let's go philosophy. Jaggernaut says, Jags United, what's up? Catch you on the replay. Go Jags. Jaggernaut, I know you will, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate you being here. Appreciate you popping in. Catch you on the replay. If you have a friend that's a Jags fan, share the word. You can retweet the tweet. You can thumbs up the video. There's all sorts of opportunities for you to share, so go ahead and do it. Eddie says, wow, you had to go. You had to go there. Tito says, shots fired. Timmy Devil says, I'm more worried about Trevor's horrible deep bomb accuracy. Some aren't even close. Some aren't, but some are on. I mean, remember that drop that Jamal Agnew had, like between his hands, and like he can hit it. He can hit it. You got to catch it. Shay says people were so hard on Josh Allen. It was a meme to make fun of him year 2. I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes these young guys, like they were talking about on the radio today, how Justin Herbert's like ruined young quarterbacks because he just came out of the gate swinging. I can't think of another quarterback who has had the success that he's had. A guy like Kyler Murray flashed, and he's kind of back down. Baker Mayfield flashed, but sustained success from a young quarterback, you haven't seen it in a while. It takes time. It takes time for everybody. I meant that in regard to Schobert popping up again. Says Trevor gets a minimum of 3 years. Oh, time is a flat circle. Okay. Sorry, Moon. You know me. I like to get off on rants. But I think we'll be okay. You know, I'm not really worried about the Jags this week. I thought we would beat the Texans, though, to be fair. We just can't beat ourselves. We can't throw picks the way Trevor did. We can't beat ourselves. Can't have those horrible roughing the passer, personal fouls on key drives. We can't miss Dameon Pierce 10 times on one play. Trevor misses some easy throws over the middle to Zay Jones. I mean, sometimes I think people confuse missed throws for throws that are only where the receiver can get them. Maybe. I don't know. But hey, listen, I think it's going to wrap up the show. I kind of want to jump on Twitch. Jags History says, Duval. I kind of want to jump on Twitch. So if you want to talk more Jags, I'm going to talk Jags and on Twitch. So it's Jags_United. Give me like 5 minutes to go to the bathroom and refill, and I'll be on there. Timmy Devil says he called the Texans game. Okay. It was not good. I was there. I was roasting in the sun. I was at the game, okay? No one take it more personally than me. Hop over to Twitch, Jags_United. Go ahead and just follow me there. I'm going to be on there in about 5-10 minutes, so we can talk Jags more over there. In the meantime, be looking out for Tuesday's show. The Twitch is Jags here. It's Jags_United. It's literally, it's in my if you go to my YouTube page, there's a link on the YouTube page, so it's there. I'll be jumping on. It's literally the exact same setup, but different. So follow all the social media, Instagram, Twitter. Like the video, share the video, all that stuff. Make sure that we do shows every Tuesday and Friday. So if you liked the show, I'll see you on Tuesday and Friday because this is a live show every week. No commercials, fan content. I love it a lot. Appreciate you guys. I will see you guys very soon. I love